I'm Brady Nix from the Ignite Battalion, and this is Ignite.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Ignite podcast. Today's topic, we're going to be talking a little bit about success. Well, actually, probably a lot of bit about success. Okay, off camera, we were talking a little bit about when someone walks into the room, a lot of times you can tell they look successful, or hey, I have a friend who's successful, or my dad's friend is successful. We kind of know it when we see it. Okay, but one of the biggest questions I think you can ask in your life, and we go over some of them in all these modules. I'm trying to come up with like the biggest 20 questions you could ever ask yourself. I'm about 11 to 12 right now, just for life ultimately, and it's a gamut of different types of questions all over the board a little bit. But in this module, this one specifically, we talk about success, and one of the biggest questions you can ask is, what's your definition of success? Because each one of us has a completely different definition of what it really means to us. Okay, so we're going to ask a couple different questions to kind of get us started. I think one of the more fun ones. I just want to talk about. Well, here it is. Here's the question. What do you find easy? Who would like to go first? We'll just kind of prepare. Okay. What do you find easy to do that other people often struggle with?
I'll take it.
Okay.
To start us off. I wrote down, and this is actually kind of cool to look back at some of my notes from a few months ago. But it says thinking clearly in stressful situations. I think that I work with a lot with kids, which create a multitude of different kinds of situations, and you have a lot of decision making that you have to make on the fly, as far as how you're going to respond to things, or what you're going to say to a kid or to parents or something that comes up. And I think that they feel like some high pressure situations. And I've seen some people really struggle and fail in that area. And I've found that I've had a lot of success in maintaining relationship and, making those stressful situations something that's less stressful. So it's cool that I wrote that, because it
kind of like thinking on your feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, being adaptable, being on my feet, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was one of your. Is that one of your core values too? Adaptability.
It is a value of mine, probably top 10.
Okay.
Definitely up there. But it's also one of my strength finders. On my strengths, my number one strength finder is adaptability. So,
okay,
yeah.
That's a great one to have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do not have that, and then they're more panicky.
Sure.
Yep. So before we continue, how do we introduce ourselves? Reggie, why don't you go first?
Hi, my name is Reggie. I'm a senior in high school, and one fact about me is I love music and I love sound. I feel like all of that's really interesting, so that's what I love to do.
Mm-hmm. My name is Jack. I'm a senior in high school, and I just started up my own auto detailing business.
Hi, I'm Brady. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm a musician.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm Steve's best friend.
Besties.
So much.
That's funny. Okay. Who else wants to tackle that one? What do you find easy to do that other people often struggle with?
I think I'll take it. This is something I just kind of found out about myself. I was speaking with one of my mentors, and he was like, this is something that like you're good at that I don't see a lot of people have the ability to do so. And that's kind of recognizing like yourself. So I see a lot of people like they do something wrong, or they do something that's just not how it's supposed to be. They don't like to take accountability in that. Mm-hmm. People just like to, just not take responsibility and
try
just
to get out of it or dodge it.
Or try to make it seem right. But a big thing that I realize that I do is I can recognize any mistakes I'm making and anything that I need to do better. I can recognize that really well, and so then I know this is what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. Who else wants to add to that?
Oh, well. Or can I do it?
Sure. No, I mean, yeah, whatever. Okay. What do you do that often people? Well, what do you do that seems easy but other people struggle with?
Playing guitar, definitely. I mean, I see people struggle with it because they don't have the calluses on their fingers, and people just find it really hard to like to press the strings in there, and it's like really easy for me. I really don't know.
Fingers, man.
I really don't know how I did it in the beginning. I don't remember, but I just see a lot of people struggling with it.
You won't see me playing guitar.
All right, so I think for me, I think especially in this day and age, I'm really good at like listening and taking in other people's opinions, because I feel like that's a big thing that people don't do these days. They hear like one thing and get offended or like get mad. I'm like, I don't agree with everything what everyone says, but I'm like, okay, well, I'll take what you say, and I know what I believe, and we both agree what we want to agree with. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think that's true about you, Reg. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't no urge to fight you. Some of these people on this table, it's
Steve
different.
or Reggie doesn't agree with half the things we're doing here. He just shows up.
Just shows up. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Exactly.
He's obligated to.
Yeah, exactly. So we've introduced ourselves here. We have Micah on the camera, and he will be joining us a little bit later. But until we have our full production crew, so we will struggle with taking some
The
of our people
Facebook
off
ad
the
is not
panel.
going too well.
Exactly. We only need about $14 million to make this a really good production.
Yeah.
So until then, just bear with us. We're all still building our businesses.
We'll get there one day.
Yeah, exactly. Amen. All right. Let's see what else. What other kind of question that we want to talk about on here? Chris, you feel most successful when? Can you give me one example?
Great question. So I think in this, maybe we'll talk more about my definition of success. But I think when I think about times that I've felt successful, it definitely has to do with like relationships that I have with people, and maintaining those or upholding those. I think in a healthy way. So if I treat someone well, I feel like that was that's a good thing, right? I think maybe that's the nature of my job, working with people. But I think even like you probably could relate to that, Jack, as a like, hey, when I did a good job for a customer and they felt good about it, I made that transaction went well. That interaction with that person went well. I think I feel successful when I can do that, when I can talk to someone and it's a good interaction and people enjoy that. So I think maybe that's just the extrovert in me, right? But that social aspect, I think, is what makes me feel successful.
Yeah, I love it. I've probably within my own company different levels of things that make me feel successful, but one of the bottom lines, obviously, is delivering something that a customer loves.
Yeah.
That is humongous to me. Then there's all kinds of byproducts to that. The income, that makes me also feel successful. And as an artist, I feel accomplished because this gives me fulfillment. That also adds to my sense of success. So there's a lot to it. Interacting with people pleasantly, making people laugh, that adds to my success. So there's so many things wrapped up in it. Ultimately, I would imagine some of you guys all would also agree with that.
I think too, like with that, like today in one of our PE classes, it was the end of the day, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. Just like done teaching for the day. I'm just feeling tired. And then one of the girls was like, why are you so happy today? Why are you so And I was like, am I really? Because I don't really feel that way, but it kind of made me feel a little bit better about the day. Yeah. Be like, oh, she's having a good time, right? These people are having a good time. So then it's like, okay, all my problems or whatever, I can just kind of settle. I feel like I did a good job today. Just a little bit of affirmation like that, right? I'm sure you get that anytime you give out, with your photos and someone gets them and they're like, wow, that's awesome, or they get their clean car and they're like, oh, this is cool, or they hear your music, or whatever it is, right? That like gives a sense of validation. I'm curious to see as this program grows, what kind of how many people kind of add to their definition of success what part of it is pleasing other people or something like that. If that makes sense, that'd be interesting to see.
It does. It does make sense. Yeah. Who else wants to add to that? I feel most successful when? Like, anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of bouncing off what you guys were saying. Just like seeing like people's excitement or like joy if I accomplish something that I promised that I would do, right? Like, and if I overachieve, and getting that recognition really like just makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people that don't do that. It's terrible way to live. Reg, you want to add to it?
Yeah, sure. So one thing you guys should know about me is I have really, really bad stage fright. It'll make sense in a second. And my first time playing guitar in front of people was the scariest thing I've ever done. But I feel like getting over fears is one of those things that makes me feel successful, because those have stopped me in the past from doing a lot of things. And I think especially that stage fright, which is a good example, because like that was like one of those things where it took me years to get over. So that was a good one, I feel like.
Reggie, can I tell a story about you at camp?
Sure.
Reggie is, like you said, really has a lot of stage fright. And at camp in the summer, we work at a summer camp with kids, and we do like kind of like a little skit in the morning, a little fun thing the kids see. We sing songs and we do a little thing about a lesson that we're learning, right? And we asked Reggie, Reg, do you want to be a part of this skit? And he's like, no. He's terrified. He's like, I do not want to go out there. And that was probably 2 years ago. And then this year, we had a superhero theme, and Reggie embraced the role as Bumblebee, the small and mighty superhero, and went out there, and the kids loved it. And he stuck to it, right? Stuck to his role and killed it. It was just cool to see his growth as, kind of seeing that fear maybe still there, and I get it, right? But getting over that, being brave in that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because, like, how our schools, like, we have, like, little kids, too. Mm-hmm. And, like, the kids will still see me in the hallway, be like, they don't even recognize my name. They'll be like, hey, it's Bumblebee, it's Bumblebee. That's the funniest thing
That's
ever.
awesome.
I love just seeing that growth, like being able to see the growth in yourself. It's just the best feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about Jordan Peterson earlier, and
Yeah.
he says it in many of his speeches, or at least I've heard him say it many times. Is we actually know when we're growing. We can actually see it. You might not notice it in the moment. I'm not quoting him exactly, but in the moment or every moment of every day. But you can tell, like, I think I grew since yesterday.
Yeah.
And that would be a great example. Like at one point you never want to do that, now you're doing it. Now you grab the microphone here and you're like bogarting it all the time. Like, Reggie, be quiet enough already. We got enough out of you. No, I'm kidding you.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add to it? Brady, when you feel most successful when you don't write a crappy song, or?
Yeah, definitely. Playing guitar and singing with no mess ups. I mean, singing karaoke in front of people and just hitting that note, that, like Creed. That's like Creed can hit, or like just singing just with no mess ups, and I just feel good about myself, and I think it gets me more enthusiastic about like going on stage and being on the big stage.
Yeah, we should do karaoke night one time. Come on, man. Ignite karaoke.
I'll do it.
Night karaoke.
Yeah, we
Wow.
absolutely should do that. Yeah, we
You'll
gotta pick
do
songs for each other.
your one trick pony.
Yeah. I have one song
That'd
that
be
I go
crazy.
to.
Taking
Leave it in the
songs
comments
for
what you think. Leave in the comments below what you think my song is that it's my go-to. I actually probably have 40 songs on my song list, but you gotta let me know which one's my go-to. If you join the program, we go over a lot of questions here. To actually go through this module specifically, it's a little over 2 hours. It's probably 2.5, almost 3 hours, because we did the first half of it last episode when we talked about influences. That's so vital. And I know you have a lot of comments on like things that influence us, right? And we're being influenced by everything all day. And don't tell me you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of it's just neutral.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of it actually affects us, and I know music is a big one. We were talking about that last week a little bit. How our moods can change. Certainly, if you're sad and you listen to a sad song, it can make you sadder. Oh boy, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Happy people can't write sad songs. And sad people can't write happy songs. Is that the opposite? I did. Yeah, I said that
I don't
right.
know. Ed Sheeran might be the exception.
Okay.
I can write a sad song.
Yeah, you can write a sad song, but yeah, you're happy. Yeah, but you're like dark and moody, right? I know when you first came across this program, you said you made fun of it.
Made fun of it.
Yeah. And now?
It's pathetic.
It's making fun of you.
Right.
It's
And
even
now,
worse.
and now what do you think
It's
of it?
even
Yeah.
worse.
Now what I think of it,
Yeah.
it changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always happy coming here and
Okay.
talking with you guys.
I appreciate that. That's awesome. That's awesome. We have a comment from the people in the audience.
I don't make fun of it anymore.
Exactly. That is funny. Okay, so you'll see it in some of the promo videos that we do. Okay, so I think I'd like for maybe Chris to go first, because you're really good at answering this one. Is an ideal successful day looks like this. But before you do that, I want to hear you, like, what does that mean?
An ideal successful
Because
day.
everyone could have one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How would you ask somebody who has no idea what that even means?
Yeah, I think, wow. I kind of want to start off with the story of how I used it. If that.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
that's a
easy,
great- yeah,
if that's
great-
the best
yes.
way to.
Mhm.
So, I think it's hard for me to think about what an ideal successful day, like my ideal, like my definition of success. That was always difficult for me to figure out for myself. And it was easier for me to kind of see it as one of my jobs. So one of my jobs, I'm the youth director at my church, right? So I set up our youth group, and I run an event every week, right? And so and I have 5 or 6 volunteers now that have helped with that. And so I kind of took this idea of ideal successful day, and I just brought it to the 3 hours that we run our time, right? 2 hours, whatever it is, right? And so I said, if my goal is I want every student to feel like they belong there, right? So if that's my goal, how does that get accomplished? And we start from there. I'm like, all right, so ideal successful day. Students show up. That's a success. People show up, right? And as simple as that, as silly as that might be, right? People show up, right? But then people show up and they're greeted by name, right? If we don't know their name, we introduce ourselves, right? So there's someone who has to greet, right? So ideal successful day. So we have greeter. Someone shows up, right? There's snacks. There's a game planned. I have a message planned. I have things planned out, right? So we go down just throughout the timeline. 6 o'clock, people show up. 6:30, we start our game. 7 o'clock, we do a little worship. 7:15, we do our message. We just keep working through that. And I figure out this is what I would love the day to look like every day, right? Every one of our events, every one of our things looks like this, right? But now I need to get people in on that, right? Because I can't do it all by myself, right? So then I figure out my team and I figure out how can that happen? Because I can't be doing the worship and doing the message and planning the game and getting the snacks, and so I get people involved, and it was great because someone would be like, "Oh, I'd do that. I'd be great at that. Oh, I'd love to do it." You find a dynamic group of people that fit into this, right? And so as I thought about my ideal successful day, it started to become more of a reality, right? Because we took the time to sit and go, what does this actually look like, right? Because it was in my head, but it wasn't in my volunteers' head, right? And so to actually use it and give it to them and say, this is what I'd like, and they go, oh, I'm on board, I got it, right? And then now instead of trying to vision cast every day, I just kind of remind them, hey, I want kids to feel like they belong, right? I want kids to feel, and they know what that means because we spent a couple hours planning out what this actually looks like, right? And so I think that as a leadership note, if you have a team or you have a group of people, it's really important to cast that vision and spend that time to say, what are we trying to accomplish? And how do we accomplish it at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, and then when they leave, right? And then throughout the week, right? If I see someone, hey, how's it going? Greet them by name, right? Because they still belong to that thing, right? So that's one way I've applied this idea of ideal successful day to my work, right? As I think about myself, and maybe I'm getting too far in here, about my definition of success, it's tied to my faith very deeply, because I believe in God, of the Bible as a higher power, right? Then His opinion of me is the one that is the most important, right? And so my life now revolves around pleasing Him, right? And so success to me is treating the people the way He would want them to be treated, right? It's and then, right, I talked a lot about people, right? So thinking about my day, I have to wake up and I have to kind of get my mind right, because I kind of want to treat people maybe in the nicest way, right? I want to treat people selfishly, right? Or I want to treat people wrongly, right? So I have to think okay, how do I get my mind right, get my body right, get my, so it trickles down, right, from that. And so I guess what I'm saying is it's kind of complicated because your day is not the same day every day, right? But it for me, it's about how I treat people, right? And how I take care of the people around me, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah. I followed you every word. So for me, when I wrote down what my ideal day is, it's got a lot of things in it.
Yeah.
That it'd be difficult for it to happen every single day. But of elements, as I'm quickly glancing at it, if it's 10 things that would make my ideal day, that would be so great, right? If I get 3 of them today and 4 of them the next day and 1 the next day and 7 one day, I don't think it's ever happened where I've had all of these things happen. I know it hasn't, but you can still design your ideal day, right? Because some things are out of my control. Getting a 5-star review, that would be great to get one of those every single day, right? I could actively seek them out, but they don't happen every single day because I don't do that enough business to get that kind of a thing. I'm interacting with one, maybe 2 couples a week. So to me, to get that, even if they both left a 5-star review, I'd get 2 in 7 days, right? Yeah, that's how that would work. So there's just times where it wouldn't happen, but it's still on my thing. What's that?
You could write your own.
I could write my own. Yeah, just open a bunch of Gmail accounts.
Plagiarize your reviews.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, is that what you do?
No.
Oh, okay, because that's a great idea. plagiarize
swear I
reviews?
don't.
Can you do it?
You
I
could-
swear I don't.
We should start a
Nope.
business where you pay people to write reviews for your.
Yes, exactly,
do that?
exactly.
That is
Yeah, you can
against
do that?
Google's
Okay.
rules.
Well, you know,
I
just-
looked into it. Google won't let you.
Yeah, Google won't
I
let
like
you.
to
Yeah,
do it.
exactly.
I love that. Sorry,
Why
cut
do we
you off.
always go right to sin anyway? Isn't that funny? Yeah,
Right?
we've done youth group events.
Yeah.
You know, and I say games with the youth, and it just reminds me that we're all just of the sinful nature, right?
Yeah.
And as soon as you say all the rules,
Uh-huh.
immediately people raise their hands. These young people like, how can I
Yeah.
do this? Can I do that? It's like
Right.
all these bending of the rules,
breaking the
of the
game.
rules. It's like, stop cheating.
I told you the
But
rules.
We haven't even
you don't
started.
need to know what's not
it's
allowed.
human nature.
Just do what is allowed.
It's human nature, man. We want to.
Oh,
what's
it
the
is.
way we can get in?
Man, it
I think
is.
it's funny. But I can probably share a few things. My ideal day. There's no right or wrong. It's impossible to have a wrong answer. It's your ideal day.
Right.
Yeah.
Who else would like to say what their ideal successful life day looks like? I know I'd get it out.
I have something to add on to it.
Okay.
Because this really kind of had me thinking. I do have a lot of just like items, you know, like specific things, but this had me thinking. You know, there's a lot of it relates to progressing. I feel like every day you should do something that gets you another step.
Yeah.
You know, might have days where it's like one step behind,
Uh-huh.
but you know, one step back, two steps forward. It's,
Yeah.
You can't just go boom straight forward.
Uh-huh.
But as long as you're making progress for that day and you've accomplished something,
Yeah.
I feel like that's a successful day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know the graph, right? As long as
Yeah.
it's going like this,
Right.
right? Because one step forward and two steps back, it still does this,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Other way around.
Two steps forward,
Yeah.
one step
right.
back.
Yeah, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay, we're gonna bleeper that one right out. No, we're not. Okay. Leave in the comments about how much I screw things up. Okay. Keep track. Little tick marks. That'd be great. Okay.
graph,
so one.
maybe.
So two
Just say it
steps
for me.
forward, one step back.
Yep.
Write a song about it because I can't memorize these things. I'm not that smart.
Someone did.
You got it.
Exactly.
Isn't that like
Put it
Dolly
to like a
Parton
Barney
song
song
or
or something like that. Oh yeah, there is probably. Anyway, okay, so but it still goes in this
Right.
direction. That's what
Right.
kind of what we're looking for.
Right.
To your point, right? It's
Yeah.
not like a rocket ship. Hey, look, I arrived. One
I
week
made it.
later.
I'm successful.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, that's an interesting way to say it, though, right? Hey, look, I'm successful. Because at one point, does anyone here and here actually think they're successful? And you can say yes, actually. But I mean, does anyone think they're successful?
I feel like there's no like exact line that says
Right.
you're
It's-
successful or not.
It's relative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's I think that's something that's good to know, that there's relative success, right? Like for me, my life feels pretty successful because I've done what I've sought out to do, right? But you might look at my life and be like, what's this guy doing? You know? And the world might look at my life and say, well, he doesn't have this and this, and he's this old, he doesn't, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So there is a objective idea of what success is. However, it really ultimately is subjective, right? It's to you. It's not something that you should let people dictate, right? I think that there's numbers people say like, oh, you know, or it's not even really numbers, but it's like, oh, if they have money, right? How much money, right? Because I mean, to me, right, but the money I make here is not enough money to live, you know, in California, right, or wherever it is, right? So that's relative too, even the number and where you live. And for me as a teacher, you know, the number I make, I'm okay with, versus if I was a singer, or if I was a movie star or somebody, right? Like your job and stuff, kind of all that, you know, it's all so relative to what you're doing, what you're trying to do, and what you're striving for, right? One of the questions that we have here, maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, is a time where I felt successful, right? I in high school I played basketball, and I wasn't really that good until like my senior year. It was the only time I started on varsity and started getting better. But I never thought that I could play college basketball, and nobody else thought I could either, right? And I tried out for the community college team, and I didn't make it, you know? And I was like, dang, that sucks. And I'm like, I want to make this team, right? And I worked out and worked hard and made the team the next year, right? And it was this moment of success for me, right? I still have the note that says, don't report to practice, you know? That's in my dresser drawer, you know? And that's just something that's like, you like, I believed in myself, and I succeeded. Well, someone might say, oh, you only played, JUCO basketball, like that you should have, you should have played Division III. You should have played this. You should.
Why
have
aren't you in the NBA?
Yeah, why aren't you in the? Yeah, why you're not successful because you didn't get this or this. You didn't do. I'm like, I'm successful because I did what I thought I couldn't do. I made a team, right? And that's cool to me, right? That I was able to do that. That's success to me, right? It might not be for you, right? Maybe for you it's playing a bigger gig or whatever it is, finding that thing, right? That is, right? So I think it's important to say that success is relative.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, especially for me as I progressed throughout my life, my definition of success, which I wasn't asked when I was younger, but if I was, I knew what I was searching for a little bit before, and it's totally different than what I'm searching for now.
Yeah.
And especially because I have so much time.
Yeah.
I have a lot of time to do things like this, and that some people they have absolutely no choice in that matter. They've built themselves a Frankenstein, right? And that kind of sucks. And they would like to have my lifestyle just to get their hours back, right? But they can't now. Maybe they have an extra zero on their income. If I was to probably have a serious conversation with them, how much are you willing to give back to get some of your time? Oh, they all have a number, because at some point it's not the money anymore, right? How much can you actually enjoy yourself, right?
Yeah.
I think that's an important aspect of it. Okay, so I know as we were going through this program, I'm getting a little bit more feedback. A lot of us are struggling saying, my definition of success is this, and then what your answer is. But I think some of us, I should say, lean into more like what's more of an ideal day. Like, give me some aspects of what success could be.
Right.
And I know you've added a few things to that.
Yeah.
Jack, did you cover some of them already, or is someone else want to kind of go?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Go ahead. I know you had something. Brady and Reggie, I'm gonna come back to you a little bit. What do you got like for your ideal day, and it kind of ties to your success? So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So I really kind of changed up kind of like how I thought about this, like drastically. I used to kind of like greed get to me. Like I was really like, if you have a lot of money, you're successful. You need a lot of money.
Yeah.
But now I kind of see money as more of a tool. You can buy the luxuries that you want. You can use it to help build. But, it's not something that defines you, right? So I could, for an example, I could have like all the money in the world, but if I don't have like the people I care about, and I don't have, exactly what I'm saying, then the money means nothing, right? I'd rather be stuck in prison with the 3 people I care the most about than have nobody and be a billionaire. So it's just,
It's a wise thing to have it at a young age,
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, like my answers are changing a lot. I'm still
And they're going
too young,
right? Like Steve
Yeah.
said, he's like, when he was 20, his definition of success is not what it is now, right? And it changes and it grows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's cool.
I remember, and I say it like this because I want to say it like this, is I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but it's been quite a while, okay? But it feels like it wasn't that long ago, okay? Where I have 4 children. They're all grown now, but I had to make a phone call. I'm actually kind of semi-proud of this story a little bit, right? Because I remember having to call my brother because I had less than $50 in my checking account. That's what I had to my name. 4 kids. I had house payment, car payments, all that kind of stuff. I had all the things, less than $50. And my groceries that week were going to be right around 100 something probably, right, for all those kids. And this was 1920. They barely had I think we had dirt floors still.
1920.
Yeah, 1920. I think that was the year they invented electricity.
$100 of groceries gets you a long way in 1920.
Okay, I know for a lot of you guys, you tease me because I'm old. Whatever. Okay, but I remember that day, right? That sucked. Okay, and I only had to do that once, so I'm grateful for that. And it's not. And then the following week, I made $1 million. No, that's not how that worked. I struggled for a long time. But now I got to the point where I had a family member reach out to me because they were having trouble with some of their taxes, real estate taxes that they had. Trying to sell I don't want to get into all the details because it's irrelevant to this conversation. But they were $6,000 short, and they called me, and I was able to go, I got it. Here's the check. Like, there's some success in that, right? To just have I don't want to come off as arrogant or like, oh, I got so much money. I don't. Okay, I'm very humble in this situation, but it would be nice if someone did have to borrow it and you had an extra money, right? That you could do that and you don't have to worry about it, right? I'll eventually get it back. I'm not worried about it, right? It's a very close family member. I trust them, that kind of thing. And even then, I haven't said I need it back by January, right? I'm not saying any of those words, right? Because I know it's coming. I'm not too worried about it, right? That's kind of a cool thing. You were talking about, like money. It's just a tool at this point. I have everything I need, right? Except for a PlayStation 5.
Reggie.
We were talking about that. We were talking about that yesterday because I'm running this program several days a week. But we were talking about it yesterday. I said I don't really need a PlayStation 5. You know what a PlayStation 5 costs?
500.
500.
Okay. Do you know what it really costs?
18 hours a week.
Exactly. 15, 25 hours a week. That's what it costs you. It's just $500 to get it.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're tied to the damn thing, and it's destroying your life.
Yeah.
Sure, there's some entertainment. Yeah, I get to play with my friends. Sure. Okay. Sure. But what could you really be doing with that? With that time? So it's way more costly than that. So that's why I don't want to get one.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I kind of need. Otherwise, I have everything I need.
Right.
And then more than that. I mean, I have 2 cars. I can't drive them at the same time. Right?
I've tried.
I've tried. I tried to ride 2 bikes at once, and that was horrific. It was a bad crash. Okay. That's a really dumb thing to do.
I think I've done that before.
I want to touch on what you were saying with that story. I think it's cool that you had an opportunity to give back, right? And do something that someone had done for you. And in inflation, that's probably about the same amount of money. I'm guessing.
Oh, probably.
But what I think in the success for me, I think I'd argue that I'd argue that the success isn't the money that you gave, but your heart posture to it, right? That something had been done to you, and you went, well, okay, I can now give that back to somebody else. Because there's plenty of people who wouldn't, right? Who would just take that and be like, oh, thanks, and then go on and someone asks them for money, like, no, right?
Right.
Too many of those people in the world, right? But that you said, no, I've been there. I hear you. I got you.
Right.
And that and I think that's a blessing that you're able to, and a testament of your hard work that you're able to give that money and not worry about it coming back, and your work of your relationships that you've built up too, right? So I think that's cool too. That the success is in that,
Oh, it's so great.
And I'd like to take a quick step back because you were saying, because I feel you were asking to borrow the money from this person. I'm sure in order to get all that back to be able to pay your friend who was short, I'm sure it was a lot of hard work to get there to that point. And I know that God rewards hard work and productivity. So, and then you being rewarded with that, you're giving it back still. So it's a big thing.
Chris, you said it much. It's not my money. It's God's money.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, at some point, right? Yeah. Well, man, I remember I drove free cars so often. I got so many free cars. And when you get a free car, there's a reason they're free. Okay? Broken windows, things are missing, things like this. But yeah, I probably got 3 or 4 free cars in a row, and then I remember when I had enough money to get like a $1,500 car. It was a 1928. No,
to crank it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a little crank engine, that kind of thing. And we had the headlights were candles.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't have bulbs yet. So let's take a quick little break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to bring Micah in. Jack, you're out. You're no longer welcome here.
Sorry,
in this
your
section.
answers weren't good enough?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, your definition of success was not very good. No, of course that's not true. And then we'll bring Micah in, and then we'll come back to you guys a little bit, okay? So, yeah, we'll see you in a minute. All right, so sitting in with us, again, is Micah. You've seen him from other fantastic episodes. I think our podcast views are up to 3 now. Right, well, which means 2 of us haven't watched it.
Not it.
Exactly. Okay.
Our editor hasn't watched it.
At some point, we're going to have millions and millions of views, and that's how I define my success is by amount of views I have and likes.
It would be nice if our editor
followers.
watched the videos.
Exactly. So we're going to go back to Micah really quickly, and you go ahead and just talk about success, what your ideal day is, things like that. Get us caught up on your life.
I think my definition of success is it's not really tied to anything physical. Like it's not the certain amount of money you have. It's not, the amount of cars you have or houses you have, but it's more of an emotional, being happy with where you are. Like if you have these things that that you thought you maybe couldn't do, and then you achieve those things, that's kind of my definition of success. If you're happy with where you're at and content, and you feel like you have achieved everything you can to the best of your ability, then I think that's success to me. But I think there's always room to improve. So I don't think I'll ever be truly successful because I always think that there's something to chase after. So
Correct.
that's
Yeah, I know next module, so to speak, so one of the other episodes we're going to talk about is goal setting and things like this. And as you accomplish your goals, we are meant to keep moving forward. It's how God made us. Pursue this. You have purpose, right? And it's a, what do they call it? An ever-expanding horizon. Once you get up to the top of the hill, it's like, hey, look at this. Look at everything I can see from here. But, whoa, there's another bigger hill out in the distance. That's, and it might require a little bit of a valley to get back up. I mean, life. That's what it is. Hills and valleys, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, having enough experience, I'll call it experience in business, because I've had a lot of good things and a lot of, not so good things. You learn so much more in the valley, right? The valley teaches way more things, but the valley meaning the lower spots, than the hilltops ever will.
Yeah.
Right, and I like that. As someone said it, I don't know who coined it, but that it is absolutely rings true for me. So like you said, we're constantly growing. What can we do next? Hey, I accomplished that. I started that organization. It's actually running, and it did well, and it served some people. I'm losing my steam on it, but there's a bunch of people there that are now running it for me. I've always had this vision to do this, which is the next thing, So I think that's great. Your definition is wonderful. So who else wants to add to that?
I can add a little bit. So I think for me, a big definition for me every day is learning something new. Because I feel like you can never know too much. Well, there's some cases where you can know too much. I mean, you don't need to know everything. But I feel like, you should learn as much as you can every single day. Fun story, I'm the sound guy here. So I try to learn as much as I can about that because I love sound and love using soundboards and learning how they work and stuff. This past week, because I'm in a class where I learn how to use soundboards and everything, which is pretty fun, learn how sound works and everything. This past Wednesday, I believe, I got to use a whole 32x big soundboard. That was pretty fun. I got to learn how all the buttons and stuff. There's a lot more in here, but it's pretty cool. So I feel like when you learn, that's kind of I'm further. I forgot the word for it, but I'm there it is. I expanded my knowledge a little more, so I feel like that's really good.
You're right.
Yeah.
100%. Chris, you want to add to that? Or?
I was just saying, growth is a very important part of success, right? Whatever it is, it's success isn't necessarily defined by just, maybe it is later in life, but staying where you are and not doing anything. I don't know many people whose definition that is, right? I just want to make the same amount of money, or I just want to make keep the same amount of friendships, or I just want to maintain, it's not normally about maintaining, it's about growing, right? Like expanding your knowledge, right? Expanding your gifts, expanding your ability to do something, right? Usually success is defined by that kind of thing.
All right, so I'm going to say something. I want you to take it to your heart, and I want you to give pushback on it, okay? Like you're going to agree with me in some way, but really think about this next thing. You mentioned, we're kind of still mentioning, always growing and that kind of thing, right? What if someone said, hey, my definition of success is to have so much money that I can just sit on the beach and drink coconut rum every single day, and that would be the life. Just sit in the sun and drink, right? I know what I think of that. That sounds pretty pathetic to me, right? That's your life, getting hammered and contributing nothing at this point? That doesn't, how is that? What are your thoughts on something like that? If someone said, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Do you have any pushback on that? And be strong with it because they're not in the room.
Right.
Yeah, he's on the camera right now. But no.
It sounds nice for a day, right? And then day 2 comes around, you're like, okay, I'm just going to go out there again. And, and I think that your life is slowly wasting away, right? I think that there's so much beauty in working towards something, working for something. We are not made to sit on the beach all day, maybe once a week, right? It's nice, right? It's important to rest. It's important to find that, but that is not our destiny, right? My thinking about my dad as an example of this is he's probably one of the hardest working people I know, and he models that, but he finds so much fulfillment in his work. And when he's done working, he's working on his yard. He's working on his projects. He's getting these things done because it brings him joy, to accomplish something that he set out to do, right? And to do it well. I think that if you half-ass something, you're not going to get the same fulfillment out of it, right? The same success out of it, right? You think about if you're a good gardener. I know you, Micah, you like to garden, right?
I dabble.
And he dabbles in it, right? But if you're a lousy gardener, you're going to get a lousy crop, right?
It's true.
It's just, but if you are intentional and taking care of and watering properly and weeding and fertilizing, whatever you have to do, your crop's going to be better, right? And so you might actually get a better reward from that, right? It's the same thing with relationships. You kind of maintain relationships, but if you invest and care about and pour into, you're going to get a lot more out of it, right? And that kind of goes into a little bit of like success takes work, right? Whatever it is, it takes hard work. You're going to get what you put into it, and so I think that's important to, the person who's like, oh, now I got all my money, I don't have to do anything. It's like, no, I don't know anybody who's going to be, you talk to at any interview of any rich person ever, right? They're never like, oh, I've now I can just relax. I can just sit back. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to just no, people are pushing and pushing and going and going and going. I love to see the Olympics were recently, right? All these world records that are broken, right? No one breaks a world record and goes, all right, I'm done. I'm good. Unless their body fails, right? They're like, no, I'm chasing that next one. I'm chasing that next one. I'm chasing that. People win an NBA championship. I'm good. We don't have to do anymore, Chasing that next thing, right? What's the next thing? Even in retirement, what do you do? How are you contributing? How are you growing? Is it investing in your kids, your grandkids, or giving back in these ways that you didn't, now you have time and there's so much more to life than just rest. You can only have so much rest. You only sleep so long, right? You got to wake up. You got to do something, and having, this is something we were talking about off camera. Jordan Peterson talks about people who are depressed or anxious and how they're actually, there's really truly people who are depressed and anxious, and he kind of asks this question: Are you actually that, or do you have a lousy life? And he compares these things, and he says, take some ownership, take some control. All right, having goals, having purpose, having success in your life, gets rid of some of those feelings of depression and anxiety. Right, where you kind of say, I'm in control of this thing. Because I set out to do it and I accomplished it, and now that feels like success to me. And we talked about influences last week. I wasn't here, but people will try to influence you and say, oh, that thing that you did, that's not really an accomplishment, when it feels like it was to you, right? There were many times where I got a C on an assignment and I was super happy. My parents are like, a C? And I'm like, sorry, that's the best I had, and it felt like something to me, right? And so you have to make sure you monitor your influences, but also have confidence in that, you did a good job, right? You worked hard and you accomplished something, because otherwise you get stuck in these feelings of, I'm not worth it. It's not worth it. I can't do anything good. I keep messing up. So it's important to remind yourself of the hard work that you're doing and to work hard, set goals, accomplish them, and repeat. Right? Mm-hmm. Next thing, and never be satisfied. I think be grateful, right? Be grateful of what you have. Be grateful with where you've been and what you've done, but don't be so stuck in this all right, I've made it, right? Keep working towards something, even if it's a small goal, if it's something that you've set and you've decided to do,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Brady, go back to the sitting on the beach, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
Just at your age and writing rock star songs all day, what do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty pathetic. Just chilling on the beach. It's like you accomplished nothing. You said they weren't here, so. Yeah, I think you deserve a day at the beach if you accomplish something that you love, and that would help others. Like if I made an album, and I think I deserve a day on the beach because I accomplished something. I made songs, and. But if I just wrote a couple of lyrics on a paper and just tossed it, I don't think I deserve a day on the beach.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I was actually writing that down. The hard work for that's required for anything worthwhile takes some effort. Hard work. I don't know, how do you define that anyway, right? But you got to certainly put effort into it, into something worthwhile. But I thought, how many bad songs do you actually have to write to come up with the hits? Because not everything that you can write is a hit, right? So there's hard work in everything that we do, including being a rock star. These guys got to write and practice, and there's so much to it. It's not a price I'm willing to pay, for it. But I certainly enjoy good music. I know good music when it's produced well. I have an ear for it, right? I know you have a real good ear for it, right? and you know when a song's not so good. You know, you're like, oh, okay. But you know, again, it requires hard work. And then when you do get some sort of success, you know, successful album or whatever it might be, sure, you get some time off, enjoy it. That's certainly not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if your goal then is to work hard and accomplish all these things just to sit on the beach then for the rest of your life and drink, it just seems like it just seems like a dumb thing to say, because you know a successful person wouldn't do that, right? Because they've been working hard their whole life.
Yeah.
They get a sense of purpose from the things that they do, not getting hammered on a beach.
Yeah.
Okay, Micah, continue. I feel
yeah,
like I keep saying the same thing over, but go ahead.
I mean, that does sound nice. I'm not gonna lie. You know, Florida is like my favorite place to vacation ever. If you haven't been there, definitely go, because
I've been there. You don't have to look at me like that.
I've been there.
Great.
who hasn't?
I was
I've
where
been to
my
Florida.
Definitely
honeymoon.
go. You gotta go.
Yeah.
But
You been
yeah,
there?
a margarita
Jack's
a day seems nice, but that's not gonna keep the doctor away. I think your liver's gonna give out eventually.
Thank
So
you for
Yeah.
saying
you
that.
better get
Yeah.
doing something, you know. But like you said, you know, the people who are successful and you know have a lot of money, they're there for a reason. They're not, you know, on the beach lounging around. They know that there's always something to chase after. So it's important not to get stuck up on like your idea of success and staying there, but you have to be open to, you know, an adaptable mindset to be like, okay, there's something else I could do. There's I could build this business further. I could reach out to other people to make more opportunities, you know. So I think that does sound nice, but personally for me, I always have to be doing something at least. So trying to work towards something. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's great. Reggie, you got something to add?
Yep. So I feel like in this sense, I feel like you can feel like you're done with something, but you're really not done. Even if you're done with like your work, you're done made $1 million. You have to think about the next step, like what are my kids gonna do, or how can I set them up, or stuff like that. Like you have to think about the next generation, or think about your next move, what you're gonna do, because you're never done. I mean, I pretty much piggybacking off what you guys said, but like I feel like there's never an end point. You kind of just can break through that easily. Like when I like work on songs and stuff, I feel like, okay, there's something else I can add here, or I could feel like it's really good, and I'm like, okay, well, what if I add like chorus, or what if I add like this plugin or that plugin, and it sounds good or it sounds really bad, but either way, I did something to make sure if it worked or not. But there's always some way you can progress that.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I know you were messing with this. You know, this is our second episode with this specific machine, this to kind of get some sound. What we're trying to do is put all the microphones into one feed, ultimately, for all our fans out there who are techies. And last week we were really struggling with it because we had buzzes and all kinds of stuff. We got it toned down perfectly, or to an acceptable level. I said that, you know. And then when I put it into post, I had to bring up all the levels and that kind of thing. But this week, I feel like it's doing better. So leave in the comments if we're actually doing better with our sound, because Reggie's going to school for this at this point, and or certainly watching YouTube videos to try to get us better and better. So. And I know Brady has playfully said, "Hey, we should re-record the first episodes." No, I want to see the progression, right? I think that's going to be kind of cool. You know, we all started off with no t-shirts, and now we're starting to wear shirts and this, and we got better at that, and I got a sign in the back, and you know, I don't know.
Well, and that's how you think about your success. We just started out great. It's like, where's the bar? You know what I mean? Right?
Oh, right.
You want to, as we think about the definition of success for this podcast, right? Is it how many people we reach? Is it how many lives we impact? Is it the fun we had along the way? You know, what is it, right? As you grow and you see we had a crappy episode 1. We probably had a crappy episode 2, and this one's probably crappy too, right? But as we grow, as we get better and better and better, episode 2000 is going to be great. Right?
Fantastic.
I
agree.
It's going to be better.
Off camera or during the break, we were talking about, hey, I think this one's the best one ever, right? And we said that to this on episode
right?
number 2, right?
And next one should be better than this one,
Right.
right? And that's what we're trying to model here,
Right.
I like success is one of our values, right? As Ignite, and in fulfilling your dreams and visions, up and running, right? Just moving forward, moving forward, having this steady growth, this gradual growth, this thing that happens, and it's really how we're made, right? It's really how we are designed to do this, to grow, to have goals, to accomplish them, to keep moving. I think that's really cool, right? And what's cool, okay, maybe we get a little introspective and whatever, but like for some reason, that is the cycle of life, right? Like you're gonna be successful, you're gonna have this thing, you're gonna start this business, and then you're gonna die, and then someone else is gonna be born and do the same thing, make some mistakes, do this thing, start a photography business, and then die. You know what I mean? And then someone else is going to do it, right? It's this weird cycle that is life. And I'm not really sure why it is, but it's cool that we all get to kind of go through it and experience it and see the beauty of life, right? See that there's beauty in the experience, right? There's beauty in seeing, like, I don't know, how many times do we see a sunset and we're like, oh, okay, well, it's, but to see it like, wow, every day, wow, that's a really cool sunset. And that's a human experience, right? And I think that's similar in success, is a human experience. I think it's something that we all kind of share in and understand and see, even though it is something that is every day, even if it's something that seems like mundane, right? Oh, I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at that. I've worked on this, and it's something that we all get to share, and it's pretty cool.
It is cool. I agree.
Yeah.
I like what you were saying. Like, I think a lot of people get caught up in the fact that it's all about the money or about the views and stuff, especially like podcast wise or YouTube. They're always trying to catch the audience so that they can make more views, get more clicks, But I think the time that we spend together and the kind of community that we are, I think we get along so well. And I think that is more valuable than any kind of money or any views that we'll ever get. If we have 3 views, like grandma or whatever, if we stay at 3 views, I don't think we will. I think we work very well together, and I think this is really going to go somewhere. But if we do stay there somehow, I think the memories that we made and the experiences that we've made here it'll be so much better than anything we could have gained from the income or the views from it. So I think that's the most important part. So we shouldn't get blinded by the fame or anything like that, but stick to what really matters.
Right. I appreciate that. Did you say it last week or the week before or something like that? No, you said it last week because we had to skip a week. And you said, no, I need this. We cannot skip a week. Yeah. Right? You talked about maybe losing momentum or something like that. So the reason why we're creating some of these podcasts, I just had a thought about it a long time ago. I brought it up to you guys, I don't know, maybe module 8 of 11, something like that. I don't know. And I said, what do you guys want to do after this expires, when we're done with the actual program? Because I got many more topics. I have so many topics. It's just not developed, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it, right? And I thought maybe, what about a podcast? And what about it? And then we couldn't stop talking for 3 hours. We talked about what it could be, and we designing T-shirts and our logos, or what is it called, mottos. We come up with all kinds of silly, dumb things, right? I'm like, okay, then let's just start filming. You're fulfilling dreams, visions. You're fulfilling dreams and vision. So it's like a vision. I don't know. It wasn't necessarily a dream to have a podcast. Yeah. But it's like I can envision it. And so we just started talking about it, and now we're up and running. We're doing it. I don't know when the last one's going to be. I have no idea. But we all have busy lives. Some of us have been here every episode, and we're trying to do the best we can with our production. Mm-hmm. So all of our fans, we're doing the best we can with this, and with what we know. Yeah. Right. And then I envision us bringing in different speakers. Certain topics. We'll start talking about taxes and things. Great. Yeah. Exactly. I spend about 15 minutes a month doing my taxes and things like that, and it's 15 minutes I dread. Right? I can't stand it, and that's only 15 minutes, right? Yeah. So, all right. So I think we should do a little bit of a recap. What are your quick thoughts? I don't know, Chris. I like
takeaways.
Yeah, a little bit of takeaways.
To-dos and takeaways.
Yeah, I don't want you to go first, but who would like to go first as far as a takeaway? Reggie?
I can go first.
Okay.
So I think a takeaway from especially redoing this kind of and re-explaining it, I think my definition has changed a lot, because I feel like before it was more just like, hey, I have a goal, and if I got it, I succeeded. But I feel like now it's deeper than that, and I feel like today I was able to realize kind of exactly what I'm kind of looking for in my success. So I feel like that's kind of helped this episode. I feel like I've learned a lot more, especially about everyone else too, hearing your points and stuff like that.
So one of the most successful people I know, to piggyback on what you just said, what does that mean, piggyback? Add to it?
Jump on.
It's you throw another candle in there. You have a candle that's lit. I'm going to add another candle to it. Anyway, it's Dr. Danny, one of my absolute best friends. I have more than one best friend. Sorry. Okay. Anyway,
I thought we were exclusive.
Okay. All right. So he was saying, okay. What I was going to say about that is, what do I do once the people graduate through the program? He's like, run it again. They're a completely different person, and we'll have a totally different understanding the second time through. So, Micah, one of your takeaways?
In recent times, I've noticed people seek out success it's so easy to see people being successful online. You know, you see it everywhere from like TikTok and Instagram, people like flexing this money and being like, oh, I can drop ship, and you know, it's all about the money and the cars and the girls and the parties and all that. And I think that's like really negatively impacting like younger generations, because that's all they're seeing, and they're like, okay, I need to make money quick, and that's the only reason I'll be successful. And they're kind of leaving these other things behind, like their family and their relationships they can make. So I think it's really important. And you know, I feel like I've been influenced a little bit about that too, because I'm like, oh, I need to make all this money, and I really want a really nice house and, you know, really nice cars. But the more that I think, you know, the more that I sit here and listen, and through this module, especially redoing it, like Reggie said, like I've learned a lot more about what success means to me, and it's become more personal. It's not attached to physical things. So it's more about, you know, the relationships I make, because memories, you know, money will go away. It will never stay that, you know, but the memories that we make, you know, people will remember that for more than our lifetime. So I think this module has helped me really realize that. So
Yeah, it's called leaving a legacy, right? An impact. That's why it says impactful living.
impactful living.
Brady, take away.
It's cool to see what I wrote down like a couple months ago, and like what I think now about Ignite. What I said, like I thought it was pathetic, you know? And now I have a better understanding of what success is, and yeah, I could just tell like I didn't really care about what I wrote down. Like I said, make Fort good. I remember.
Okay.
I
You're making the
I
fort.
remember I was doing the thing with Derek. I wish he was here right now, but
He didn't die. He's just
Rest in
acknowledged.
peace.
He died making the fort, doing what he loved.
yeah, I just have a better understanding of what success is, and I think it's like accomplishing your goals, and like what you guys said, like there's never like an end to success. You can always add on to it. So.
Right, I agree. Chris,
Yeah.
take us home.
I think as a takeaway, and kind of what I'm hearing from this conversation, I think that it's important to remind us that it takes some hard work, right? It takes some work to be successful. We were talking like you don't just get dropped $1 million and be like, oh, I'm successful, right? You know, you have to work for it, and it feels different when you work for it, even if it's not $1 million, right? You know, when I got my first paycheck, that was like, whoa, I worked for this and I earned it. I got it now. You know, that's a different feeling than you're getting money on your birthday, you know? And you think about that money differently, right? Or, you know, like for me, it's like I worked to play basketball on that team, right? And it's not just like going and playing pickup, you know? Because I didn't work for it. So it's different. It's a different feeling, you know, to put on a jersey and play for a team, you know? And so it takes some hard work, right? And don't be afraid of that, right? Don't be afraid that it takes hard work, that it might hurt, it might suck some days, you know, that there is a good reason to work hard, and you get a feeling from it, right? Feeling after you work out, you're like, okay, I'm glad I did that, right? It sucks in the middle of it, right? But when you finally get that feeling afterwards, right? So I think my takeaway is that work hard, do it, you dream it, figure it out, you know? And I think that's what a lot of this program is, right? Do it. Why not? Right? It's funny, Derek Rose just retired today, right? I know, Reggie's crying. And we're based in Chicago, so a lot of Chicago love for Derek Rose. But early in his career, you know, he won he was the youngest player to win an MVP, right? And that season, he's famously quoted of, why not? Why not? That's his thing, right? Why can't I be the youngest MVP and, you know, win it, right? Why not? Why can't you dream up the thing you're going to dream up and do it, right? Why can't this podcast be something great, right? Maybe it's because Reggie messes the sound up, right? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe it's because Jack's phone goes off, right? But why not? You know, why can't we accomplish these goals and work hard and do it, right? That's my takeaway.
A great takeaway. Yeah, great takeaway.
Steve,
do
you have a takeaway?
Yes, I do. Well, I have a funny way to wrap it up anyway. There was a guy on one side of a Zoom call, and on the other side was as many people as you could fit into one frame. They're like all leaning into the camera. So it was like, you know, like 8 heads or something like that. And they're like, I'm going to tell you the secret to success. And they're all like, oh my God, what is it? Tell us, what is it? You know, there's like the drama's built. It's like, you have to work hard. And they're like, oh, and they all like, everyone wants it for free or easy, you know, that kind of thing. You'll have easy days, but, you know, you got to put something together. It's hard to start a business. It's hard to go get a job, right? I mean, I don't know if you have to, what do you call that? In job interviews and stuff like that. I haven't had to do one in a long time, so, because I'm successful.
I'm the one conducting
All right, we get it,
interviews.
Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
We get it.
Right. But I have interviewed people before. Yeah, it's an interesting place to be. You know, for me, I guess, you know, that kind of thing. And I've had some people come to me. You know, no, I can't say it. I can't say it, but now I should, right? Because everyone's going to wonder why. You know, I've had people come to me that are, you know, I want this much money. I'm like, okay, what can you do for me? Because you have to generate that. You know. You know, 'cause I'm a small company, so I'm not. I can't bury your salary into it like Baxter, which is like worth, you know, $40 billion or something like that. Like a small $100,000 salary is not even a blip, right? Yeah. Where here I'm like, you got to produce, right? If you want 60,000, you could probably make at least generate at least 120. Because my company has to make a little bit of money off of you and deal with you, you know. And I'm like, what could you do? And they could do nothing. They have like a zero skill set. I'm like, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know, what do you bring to the table? So
Yeah.
a lot of it is hard work and gumption and get up and go. Grit. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into success, right? And we'll keep diving into that, I guess. You know. So thanks for watching, and we'll see us at the next one. Hopefully, you got something out of this. Leave it in the comments, and only positive ones, because we're fragile. No, we're not. We're not
I
perfect.
am.
Yeah, Chris is fragile. If you say anything about anyone, just keep it nice. All right, that's it. I think so.
Cool.
Okay. All right, do we do our little chant, or no? We just come back. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
That's it. I'm going rogue. When I first heard of Ignite, I made fun of it. Then I actually joined. Now I don't make fun of it no more. Join the battalion.